Hello and welcome to another episode of 207 Aikido. Today I'm going to talk to you about forward rolls, and specifically rolling on some harder surfaces. At a certain point in my Aikido career, my ability to roll plateaued at good enough for the dojo. But over the past couple of years, I've been trying to find ways to bring that level up. So the second piece of advice, which I'll tell you about first, came from Joe at the Henry Kono seminar in Houston, Texas. And this was not when he was teaching his seminar, this was just when he was working with a beginner on how to approach the roll. And I sort of eavesdropped on their conversation and got in a little bit of practice. And it was really interesting to me because if you've seen footage of Joe, he takes just beautiful ukemi. But this advice was very different than anything I had heard before. And so this sort of drill, which he was introducing this new student to, was to start like this, in this position, and to imagine the energy, he would just say coming from here, but let's say from the tanden out to the hands. The energy is extending, and you're just going to bring the tanden towards the ground. You're leaning forwards. But as you do this, you need to maintain this space. The energy is coming out the arms, and you can't crunch it. You can't crunch yourself. So as this approaches the ground, these necessarily have to turn. And at a certain point, you just go over. But the thing that really struck me again was Joe emphasizing hands like this. Because in Tamiki, we often talk about having the hand this way. And I recalled very specifically Tanaka Sensei at the Kawasaki tournament that I was at just prior was talking about putting yourself in kote hineri, this way. So if you picture this, Tanaka Sensei is saying to have the arm all the way this way. And here Joe is saying to have the arm this way. And this is what I love to find in Aikido, is a contradiction. Because a contradiction is an opportunity for you to find a bigger system, the bigger system that allows both of these statements to be true. Rather than trying to figure out, is this one wrong or is this one wrong? No. What is the larger system that allows both of these statements to be true? So if you think about a roll, in a roll you're rolling on this axis and on this axis. So when your arm goes out this way, at the beginning of a roll, if I'm doing a roll up here, and I'll talk about that again in a minute, but if I'm doing a roll up here, I can present my arm like this, and then as I approach the ground, it ends up like this. Starts here, and then as I approach, goes over there. Now the other point that I've been trying to keep in mind recently is this idea of any time that you're pushing somewhere, you've got to figure out where you're pulling. You can't just have a push. There's a pull somewhere. Or any time you're pulling, there must be a push somewhere. So we can take this idea and say that the arms are pushing and the legs are pulling. And I'll post this seminar footage from Joe in Houston where he sort of talks about this. As someone's putting you in a technique, lower yourself as much as you can with the legs. They're going to pull you towards the ground. And then whenever it is that you have to go over, again, you're making room for yourself. So the arms are pushing. They don't allow you to crunch yourself in. The arms push. So the legs pull you as close to the ground as they'll let you, and the arms push. But now we can split that again in two. So we've divided this in half. These are pulling, these are pushing. But now I'm going to divide myself in half again. This is pushing, creating space, but this is pulling. If I'm being a circle, if this is going this way, then this must be coming this way. And that was one of the biggest breakthroughs for me, was to realize if I put my hands down together, as if I'm doing parkour, here, then this hand is going to pull. And that really made a difference for softening up my roll. So again, I'm lowering myself with my legs, and I'm pulling with this hand. And then in the seminar, another point that Joe made is not getting stuck on one foot earlier than you have to. You want to keep yourself weighted on this other foot as well for as long as you can. And so in a way, I'm going to sort of push myself over with this foot, but I'm pulling with this foot. And again, that's turning me so that I can have that multiple axis rotation. So I'm going over, pushing, pulling, pushing, pulling. And you could even split this if you wanted to. You could split this down this arm. And this would be pushing, this would be pushing, and this would be pulling. And you can just keep making iterations of that breakdown. But for now, we'll just say pushing, pulling, rolling. So I'll stop there for now. Maybe I'll post some of those more technical points that I mentioned from a year and a half ago that I never did post. And also keep an eye out for that seminar footage, which hopefully will be up sometime in the next couple of weeks. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.